Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
You're fabulous.
Excellent. All right. So you have been tagged up.
All right.
So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dark Roast. I'm Donna. Pardon me. I'm Donna Stroll, and I'm here with the beautiful Rose. And
Hi.
today we are going to talk about webinars and workshops and how they can help you engage with your audiences and boost sales or even just drive sales to whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yes.
Pardon me. Rose, I'm going to let you start because I'm going to cough my head off here in a second.
That's fine. Sorry, I was distracted trying to see the tag and I'm still not seeing it. I don't think Facebook likes us anymore, but that's fine. All right. So webinars, yes. Webinars are great because they can cover any kind of topic. I used to go to a lot of holistic health webinars that would be like a week long that were fantastic, and they have a bunch of different doctors and stuff like that. You've got webinars on sales, obviously, webinars on affiliate marketing, digital marketing, webinars on basically any niche that you're in, you can do a webinar. And they're fantastic. Some of them are great, some are terrible. A lot of times it's a good way to discover if the person that is giving the webinar is someone that you want to work with or not. So they are a fantastic tool when used correctly.
100% agree. And it's a great way for you as an entrepreneur to build that know, like, and trust with your potential clients. It's a great way to give them an introduction to your products or your stuff without having to oversell, because a webinar is usually it's more high level, right? The purpose is to give people enough information that they can, do something with it, but not necessarily give away the farm, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's also a good way to get some interaction with people, right? Because most webinars are live, or they should be. Because some people do say they're live, but they're not.
The replays, yeah. There's very
Yeah.
special software that allows them to do that. Yes.
But it's a good way to have some interaction for people to ask questions and that sort of thing. And that's an excellent way to drive engagement. And then again, you're just continuing to build that know, like, and trust with people.
Yeah. Especially if you're in the beginning stages of building something, right? The webinar could be a good way of discovering like what your customer or your audience really wants, because we have a good habit of assuming or making problems for customers that maybe isn't a problem, and just glossing over something that probably is, because we have our own biases that drive what we do, but we really have to listen to our audience and who's buying to know what they're really interested in.
Absolutely. And I mean, we all have cognitive bias, right? That's just a natural part of being alive. What we think is important, we assume everybody else thinks is important. So yeah, a webinar is an excellent way to just ferret that out.
Yep. They're also very versatile, right? You can use them for just general Q&As. You can use it as a launch announcement. You can use it as an update announcement if you have a program already, but you're updating something. There's just so many options with webinars, and the lead up time is really contingent on you too. Right? You can do a 3-month lead up. You can do a 1-week lead up. It's a great way to get people talking about it and interested.
Yeah, and sharing that content with other people that they think that might be interested as well. Webinars are a great way to do that. I mean, because then they're like, hey, they can invite a friend, right? Oh, you're into this. I'll totally go with you. I'll totally go and sit and watch that with you. Or, maybe this is what we need, bud,
Exactly.
And the nice thing about webinars is, like we said, they can be recorded, right? So you're doing it, you're recording it, pardon me. And then you can save that for later and have that as part of your content. You can break it up. You can then sell that webinar if you want to for a very small price of an admission fee. if you want to do that. Or like you were saying before we got on here, where a lot of times people will do the webinar, it's free, and then have it available for, a couple of days afterwards for the replay for people who missed it. But then there is a fee if they want lifetime access to it. So it's a great way to get some sales, and to, while you're still also boosting engagement and filling up your content.
Yeah. And depending on what it is too, it's a great way to co-collaborate, right? So if it's affiliate marketing, like the one coming up on traffic, right? Not only are people who know and trust Jonathan Montoya going to be there, but now they're also going to learn from a bunch of creators that maybe they don't actually follow or they don't actually know about. And so it's a great way to get more people's faces out there that are in the space to help build everyone's business essentially, but also give that greater knowledge share, because, like with you and I, like we have very different skill sets. And so once you have 8 or 9 people on a panel, now you have 8 or 9 different skill sets you can, pull from. So it's just super beneficial.
Yeah. And webinars can be everything from like, an hour to like a 3-day process, right? All 3 days, you're looking more into like a workshop, right? A webinar is usually anywhere from probably like 45 minutes to 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's great. Personally, I know that I am looking to do a webinar actually. I know.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
Girl.
I'm going to do the webinar that I'm looking at is going to be an hour. It might go to about an hour and a half, depending on the questions. And it's going to be specifically geared to niche building. Because I think that a lot of people, when they first come into the online space, or the ones that have been here for a while, they somehow get sucked into the MMO and they hate it, or it's just not jiving with who they are. Or the other thing is they do like I did and turn something that was a joy into a job. And, it's a time constraint, and it takes away from their passion. And there's ways to build your niche around that instead of having to do that. So that is actually what I'm going to be doing. You'll see you'll start seeing me posting more about it on Monday. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then if the webinars can lead right into workshops. Workshops are much more interactive. They're classes, they're master classes, they're that sort of thing. So again, like I say, that's where you start getting into 3, 4, 5 day kind of things. And it can be longer, but usually a workshop is, they usually try to contain it within a week, and those you can purchase or whatnot. And your webinars can actually lead you into a workshop. Or you can do your workshops for free and have that be your main thing.
Yeah. One thing I really like about workshops is if you're suffering from imposter syndrome, the right workshop right webinar can break that. Because I've been to webinars where I'm like, this person is an idiot, or this person is just an egomaniac. Like there are webinars I've attended that I've walked away and just gone like, that was a total waste of my life, and I will never ever buy anything from this person. But that's good, because if you're watching a webinar and you're like, this person does not know what they're talking about, I could do this better, then you kind of get over that imposter syndrome thing of going, oh, well, yeah, okay, maybe I do know what I'm talking about. So it can be, like, it sounds really negative, but it can be beneficial from that perspective as well.
I agree. That's the great thing about the webinars and the workshops is that it really is a try before you buy, right? Yep. Or your investment is small. So, like it might be anywhere from $7 to maybe $20. But generally speaking, it's relatively small, and it's an opportunity for you to really see if that person jives with you. I mean, it could be something as simple as, I can't stand their voice, so no, I'm not going to be able to watch. It's a big one for me. Yeah, and I mean, it seems like a silly thing, but the reality is we all have our things. And so it could be they talk too slow, or they talk too fast, or they tell too many stories that don't jive with your own personal experiences. But that's an opportunity to
Or they
really
yell. That one gets me all the time. I'm like, why are you yelling at me? Like, you're on camera. Like, why are you yelling? It's just, you don't need to yell.
I mean, some people are naturally loud. We went to the bank yesterday, and this lovely lady was helping us, but holy Hannah Banana, oh my God, this woman was so loud. And she dropped her voice every so often to talk about some, some pertinent things. But then, like, it was 2 seconds, and then boom, her octave level, or her volume level, was like right back up there. I'm like, wow, and you're so tiny. Like, why are you so loud? And I know that I'm not like super quiet, but come on now.
Yeah.
So so that is very good. Workshops, like webinars, are interactive, but workshops tend to be more interactive because they're constantly asking for feedback. Drop your numbers or whatever. Drop your questions. There's usually question and answer time at the end of every single workshop day. They're much more practical. So for some people who are way more into the practical, just give me the data and let me go on, give me the info and let me move on. Workshops might be a better fit. Or if you're trying to teach something over and you know that 60 minutes is not going to be enough to give the basics information that you want to give without giving away at the farm again, but it gives them a good start, that's, a workshop might be more beneficial. And usually workshops can be more intimate. It depends on your following. Obviously, some people's workshops, you're going to have 100 people, but even 100 people is not like 10,000 people, right? So it just depends on how you're able to reach out to people. I've attended tons of workshops, tons and tons, because I always like to see, what other people are doing. When it comes to marketing, I like to see all the different styles. So I will attend, like I will take in a workshop on product merchandising for drop shipping, taking one on Etsy, one on digital products, as well as my own, here in like the educational and courses and coaching and public speaking. And it seems like a lot, but for me, I look at it and go, 3 days. Most times it's like an hour and a half. I don't have to stay for the Q&A or any of that kind of stuff if I don't want to. And it just gives me an opportunity to see what's out there and see where they merge and where they dissect, because that gives me a much better marketing feel all around. And also because I'm a knowledge hound.
You are. I love that about you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a great way. Like last week, we talked about continuing your education, right? It's the same kind of thing. So when I had my cookbook and my health and wellness website and whatnot and all that going, I was attending every webinar I could on holistic healing. I can't even remember now the company that sent me most of them, but it was be just holistic doctors talking about gut health, like Dr. Dr. Axe was on there a lot, talking about probiotics and gut health and how it affects your brain, and different ways to cure thyroidism without surgery, without medications, like what medications actually do to you, all that kind of stuff, which is why it's kind of funny that I'm back in that holistic health niche again with Ice Baths, right? And there's webinars, there was a cryo, I don't think they called it CryoCon, but it was something along those lines in Texas a couple of months back. And one of the doctors that I follow pretty regularly was there, right? So they can be super beneficial from that perspective too. Again, from one, continuing your education, but two, knowing what people are dealing with.
Yeah, yeah, and by attending them, like whether you're an attendee or you're somebody who is looking to build your own, mini workshop or your own webinar for people, going and taking a look is a great way to see how different people are doing it, what resonated with you, and look at their advertising as well. What drew you in? What made you sign up? What was the information? And that's super helpful for you to be able to take that information and utilize it, Frankenstein something for yourself out of that.
Yes.
Because it can be very daunting, especially because both webinars and workshops tend to be lives, right? Yeah. And then they're evergreened afterwards, and that's something. And you can add that to your arsenal and sell it for a very small amount or the larger amount, depends on how you want to do it. But it can be very daunting at first to put yourself out there and do those lives, even if you're used to doing a little bit. This is you're putting your desires, your passion out there and hoping that other people are also interested in that passion. And yes, as much as you're going to dive down and make sure that you've got your ideal clients and all the rest of it, it's like setting sail for the first time, right? You're going to be nervous. And I've listened to enough of them who are nervous even after they've done like 100. They still have those butterfly moments. So you're not alone. It's normal.
Yep. Well, because you're not just putting yourself out there. Like when we do content creation, right? We're putting ourselves out there, but now you're putting yourselves out there not only as a content creator, but as an authority content creator, and you're risking real life trolls, right? Which for a lot of people, the trolls is what gets them. Brian's talked about it before, where he his first TikTok live was completely terrible because he let a troll get to him. So it is a little more daunting from that perspective.
Absolutely. And the nice thing though is when you're doing a live, depending on where you're doing it, but pretty much anywhere, you have the option to ban those people. Mm-hmm. You can kick them out of your thing because they're there to drag things down, not lift things up. Now, that doesn't mean that if they ask a hard question, that you don't like, that's a different thing, right? But if they are actively trying, constantly saying scam, 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 then ignore those people because they're not there. Good morning, David. Thanks for joining us today. So now the benefits of a workshop are obviously you're being allowed to teach something more in depth.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it could be a new skill, a strategy. It just allows for a deeper dive into something. And again, like you say, interactive. And so people walk away feeling more like they've gotten something more out of it. So webinar is very high level because you're working in a very small space. Good morning, Renee.
Hey.
So you're working from a very high space and you're basically surface level covering stuff. Now it's important because people might not have that information. So it's a good way for them to sort of touch base. A workshop obviously provides more in-depth information. It's not going to provide them everything, but it's going to provide a lot of information that they can walk away feeling like they've learned something, that they've grown something that they can take and implement into their own business or their own path, which is super, super important. And it's also a great way to, if you have a bigger course, if you have a bigger program or you're a coach or whatever, if you've got something bigger, then it's a great way to introduce them to that. Now, some people get annoyed by that. I don't, because they've just given me 3-4 days of free education. And now they're offering me the opportunity to work with them. That's perfectly acceptable. And anybody who complains about it doesn't understand the process. And I'm sorry if that pisses people off. But the reality is if you can't understand that they just gave you a crap ton of stuff for free, and now you're mad because you have to actually pay for the rest of the meal, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. I agree. I agree. There's tons of free information out there. Don't get us wrong, but the free information is only going to get you so far, right? Like you can only go so far with YouTube University. I have this frustration with a lot of people in my generation where they're like, "Well, I've watched 100 hours of blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Cool. I can watch 100 hours of heart surgery and understand the ins and outs of the heart. That doesn't mean I can do it." And so there's
Exactly.
this disconnect there, and that's where webinars and workshops really come in handy because. Um, I've talked about it before where like sometimes in marketing it seems like everyone else understands that 2 + 2 = 5 and you're just going what did I miss, like what how is this happening, and sometimes it's the workshop or the webinar that you take that's like, oh, that's how you're getting 5. Okay, now it makes sense. And of course that's not mathematically accurate in any way shape or form. It's just my best analogy.
Yeah. No.
And so yeah, like every webinar, regardless of it's a 1 hour webinar or a 3-day webinar or even a week long, there's going to be some sort of sales pitch involved, and that's just the nature of the game. And that's again, like you said, when you're building out the webinars, like especially if it's multi-panel, right? You're reaching out to people, you're asking them to get on usually without any guarantee of any financial contribution from you to them,
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to sell, what's not. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, and it is a lot of work. And so, yeah, there's going to be a sales pitch at the end.
Yeah. And that sales pitch is truly saying, if you've enjoyed and you've gained something from this and you want to work with me further, then this is how you can do it. Here's some opportunities. You can say no, thank you. Or you can say yes. Or you can say, you know what? I might want to. Let me hang on to that information for later. There's no harm. There's no foul. No one's breaking your arm to do it. Right.
Yeah. And oftentimes, like, it's coming. And so you can skip if you're the kind of person who really just doesn't want to sit through a sales pitch, just skip the last day.
Yep. Yep. Or, as soon as they start to go into it, right? I mean, because sometimes there's still information on the last day, and then it's like maybe the last, hour or, 40 minutes or whatever is. So whatever, you just pop in, you can leave. The door is right there, right? I have, my patience is very limited for that sort of stuff.
Same.
So, how do these drive sales? Okay, so if you provide value through a workshop or a webinar, you're building your know, like, and trust. Like I said at the very outset, people are more likely to buy from you if they start seeing these on seeing them on a semi-regular basis between, your content and any kind of value posts that you're providing where there's some information. And then they see these webinars, they start to really know you and know what you're about. And that will really draw them to you. And that is going to obviously make your connection stronger. Also, when you are setting up your webinars and whatnot, your webinars or your workshops, you're obviously going to be capturing some emails, which then allows you to reach out to potential clients through email marketing, and provide more value, again, through email marketing, because your email marketing shouldn't just be sales, right? Your email marketing should provide value, should give them opportunities to go and watch things in different areas, as well as providing them opportunities to purchase your services or the services of somebody that you represent or that you believe does well.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're just starting out too, it gives you a good chance to get testimonials, right? So
yes.
Whenever we talk about events with real estate, it's like the first one is going to suck because not a lot of people are going to come. The second one, people are going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is an actual theme. And by the fourth one, they're going to be asking when the next event is. And it's kind of the same thing with webinars. Like when you're doing your first webinar, like there's probably not going to be a lot of people there. But the people that are there, you can engage with, you can get testimonials, you can get content, and you can really strategize. That's the nice thing about webinars is you really have to strategize how you're going to do it, right? So like, how long before you do it are you going to hype it up on social media? Hey, girl, what's up,
Good
Claire?
morning, Claire.
And then after the fact, you can cut that content up. You could have it throughout your other content that you're doing, and then you can start interspersing those testimonials. And then when the next one comes around, that's been in front of people enough, they're like, oh wait, like yeah, she did one like 3 months ago, and it looked like it really well. But I didn't jump on that one because I didn't really know who she was. Maybe I'll jump on this one, and then it kind of builds. So always expect the first one to be like crap, but crap that you can learn.
I'm going to be perfect now.
You will be perfect. Yes, you will 100% be perfect. You're the amount of people that are there might not be, but that's again, you're building. So
yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's where you get those customer reviews, you get the hype, you get other people talking about you, right? Because nobody likes the person that sits there and talks about how great they are, but we don't mind hearing how great someone is from somebody else.
Well, yeah, and in the testimonials that well, obviously the testimonials make for great content.
Yeah.
But if you can overlay your testimonials with snippets of your webinar for your next, your next showing of it, that's super helpful, because now you're giving them a taste, as well as, that testimonial that people like to feel, like they're doing something.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing, the nice thing about how this can drive sales is because during your webinar or your workshop, you're trying to provide value. And then you're giving them opportunities to maybe work with you. It doesn't have to be pushy. You don't have to feel like you're doing a cold sales call, right? Because they've already agreed to come and see you. They wanted to see the information that you're providing. So when you do make that offer, you're not being pushy. You're just giving them an opportunity. And I think that's really something that everybody who's in marketing, especially people who don't come from a marketing background, or that's not their natural state, really needs to keep in mind, is you're giving them an opportunity, and by showing them why it's an opportunity, because that's what your webinar and your workshop is actually all about, is showing them, you're giving them information, you're providing value, and you're showing them why this is an opportunity to work with you. And then if they don't want that opportunity, that's on them. That's not a you thing, that's a them thing, and that's totally fine, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it really helps alleviate some of that sales kind of feel that makes a lot of people feel kind of gross and icky. So
yeah, we're not used car salesmen.
Most of us aren't. Most people who get into online marketing or get into affiliate marketing or drop shipping or any of those things are not natural salespeople. We're doing it because we were given the promise of this is easy. Of course, as you get into it, you realize it's lies, terrible lies, but it is, we get into with the promise that it's easy, and then we find out that it's not easy. And one of the most difficult things is the sales process, because we've all been sold to. We've all had those moments where we've really disliked the salesperson, like where you walk into a store where everything's on commission, where all the sales staff are on commission, and they're like, have you been helped? Have you been helped? Do you need this? Do you need that? And you're like, I'm just looking, right?
Yeah.
And I feel bad for those girls and those guys, because it's not their fault. They're on commission. It's their job, right? But at the same time, I'm like, leave me alone. I just want to look.
Yeah, that's the benefit of social media. You can just block.
Yep. But that also helps you, figure out also why you're doing it, right? Okay, so now the next step, this is engaging your audience and getting them, into the conversation, having them ask questions and all that sort of thing. That's the first step, and then once they're hooked, selling becomes a natural progression. So once they're hooked and they're really into what you're doing, that's why you'll hear a lot of them, give me an aha moment. Like that's Rachel's, like, give me an aha. Other people are like, give me a 1 if you've got this, or give me a 2 with that, or give me, do the sparkle fingers or whatever. It depends on what it is. The reason that you want to have some sort of way to push that engagement is because you're trying to get them hooked into who you are, and also really excited about being there and doing the stuff with you. And then that makes the selling part of it a lot easier to progress into that, because they've already they've already bought into you. They've already, feeling really happy about where they are, enjoying what you're providing. So selling to them is no longer a, would you like to buy a vacuum? Right. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, you engage first. So don't lead your webinar, obviously, and don't start selling right out of the gate. If it's a workshop, you don't do that on day 1 or 2, or, in the first 10. If it's a webinar and it's a 1-day thing, you don't do it in the first 10. You do it in the last 15, right? If you're doing a workshop, you do it on the last day, and probably still provide some value. And if you're going to sell, like if your last day is all about selling, you need to make sure that they know why, right? Show them how what you're offering is going to help them, is going to make their life better, is going to solve some issues and problems that they have, not just buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing.
Yep.
Right. So.
Yep. Always, what problem do you solve? Or does your product solve?
Yeah. So that is pretty much it for today. So, whether you're just starting out, this is an opportunity for you, or you've been around for a while and you just want to take your business to the next level, which is where both of us are now, looking to move things from, this step to this step. Incorporating workshops and webinars is a great way to build up that engagement with your audience. Keeping it a little bit more high level, letting people know who you are without, overwhelming yourself too much. There should always be a next step, whether it's, whether you're doing a short webinar or you're doing a 5-day course, there should always be a next step for the people that are attending, because, there's got to be a reason why they're coming, and not just, at the end of it, thanks for stopping by,
Join my Facebook community and I'll never talk to you again.
Exactly. I mean, if you're trying to build a group, then, that's great. Yeah. But there has to be an action for them at the end of it, beyond just the learning. Okay. Yeah. And ultimately that'll do something.
Now, do we have an idea of when the Dawna Epic workshop will be coming?
I'm actually looking for, I believe it is Friday the 7th is when I will be doing the webinar. It's not going to be a workshop. It's just going to be a webinar. I'm looking, like I said, about 60 minutes. It will be a nice overview, the 10 steps of, building out your niche and working with that. I should have the sign up and ready on Monday. So I'll start putting that out there so that people can pop in. And like I say, that is pretty much just for people. I mean, it's for anybody who wants to brush up on their niche, or anybody who really, they think they know, but it's not going where they want, either they're looking to jump into the online space and want to do it right. Because the reality is, with a niche, if you try to build a home and you don't have a foundation, like you build it on a bog, then, your home is going to crash. And a niche is basically the foundation of your business. Without it properly sussed out and knowing exactly how you're going to build from that, you can't grow. You can't, or you're spending a lot of, or, those ball things that you stand on where you're, if you don't have a good, So it's like that, right? You can definitely stand on it, but if you don't have a strong foundation, which would be your core, you're going to be like this all the time. You're going to be falling off, or you're so exhausted because you're just trying to keep things level. Having a solid niche, having a solid foundation will help you build stronger and also build outward. That's my opinion anyways.
I love it. So next Friday.
So yes, next Friday. So, so that's when I'm going to do it. So we'll have our live. And then I will be, probably going directly into the webinar.
Love it.
So I'll already be set and ready to go. I'll be talking so much. So next week.
Hot topic.
Yes.
Hot topic. Woo!
We're going to be talking about AI, and we're going to be talking about AI in terms of a tool, some of the concerns that are out there, some of the oversimplifications that we've seen, and how to utilize it more as a tool and less as a replacement.
Yep. You're probably really hurting your engagement by just using AI descriptions because they're so obviously AI descriptions.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about how to avoid those pitfalls.
Absolutely. And we'll throw in some different tools because ChatGPT and Midjourney are not the only two things out there. I mean, there's tons of stuff that uses AI. So, it's not going to be just ChatGPT and Midjourney, although, we will be touching on those. But
And Monica.
All right. So
Monica's my favorite.
What is?
Monica.
I don't think I've even heard of that. So you'll have to send that over so I can research.
I love it.
So that is it for today, boys and girls. Thank you so much for joining us. And
yes, thank you everyone for commenting.
Yes. As always, if you have any questions, comments, want to learn anything more, please reach out to either Rose or myself. Because again, different skill sets. So either one of us can help you. If I don't know, I'll just shunt you over to her.
Same.
If there is anything that you would like us to talk about that we have not talked about, by all means, drop it in the comments because we are always looking for new ideas. And if you're catching this on replay, #replay, let us know that you've popped by. And I think that is it for this week. And we will see you next week where we discuss AI. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye, guys.